what's going on, guys? I am Tyler from the Shower Realm, and today I'm going to bring you a deck tech on Lightsworn for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for anyone that doesn't know what Lightsworn does, it is a mill deck, and semi-decent going first, but more or less it's going turn 2 deck because of the extra draw. Kind of bricky depending on what you want, but yeah, it's not too bad. More or less you just want to make sure that you're getting the right mills, sometimes in getting opponents' effects and taking care of problematic boards. But more or less your game is to get your boss monsters out as quick as possible by the mill, and hoping that you get at least 4 or more different named Lightsworns or Twilight Sworns into the grave. So, start this off, let's begin. Alright, for the first monster you're going to be playing level 3 Lumina Lightsworn Summoner. She is a decent monster, level 3 spellcaster, 1000 attack, 1000 defense. If you have another Lightsworn in your grave as a target for level 4, you can discard a card from your hands and special summon one level 4 lower Lightsworn monster from your graveyard to the field. And at end phase, you just send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, so it's pretty good. More or less it's to get the 3 wolves that you play. He can't be summoned from the hand unless by an effect, or by being sent from the top of the deck or from deck to graveyard. So that's the only reason you play him, especially since it's a mill deck. You really want to see him in grave from the mill, or to use him as a target for Lumina. So you play 3 of him, 2100 attack, 300 defense, Beast Warrior, and can't be normal summoned, has to be the special summon by that effect. If you have him in hand and you have another target for Lumina, you can discard Wolf and special summon Wolf from grave, one from the discard, so it's not bad. And my dog is now underneath my table, so I do apologize for that. Alright, so off to the next monsters, you're going to be playing Twilight 3 Lila, Twilight Sword Enchantress, 1700 attack and 200 defense. Also a spellcaster. It's good against magicians, it seems, since they play a lot of pendulum scales and stuff like that. You can blow them up, especially if you're playing against a just Dark Magician deck that plays Eternal Soul, Dark Magical Circle, just continuous spells. So as soon as they activate it, you can banish one Lightsworn from hand or grave and destroy it. And then if another Lightsworn effects, say like Lumina's for the discard, went off, then you can mill another 3 at the end phase. So it's really good to help you get your plays off and get out your boss monster. So 3 Lila, not a bad card. Also level 4, so it helps you get off XCs and Synchros. Next, for the 3-Os, we're going to play 3 Judgment Dragons. A really amazing monster. Since this is also a Lightsworn build, you're going having at least 3 plus, well actually 4 plus Lightsworns in grave, which is what you want for him. So his effect rates cannot be normal summon or special summon, except by having 4 more Lightsworns in grave with different names. And if you pay 1,000, you can blow up the field minus him. So that's including spells, traps, and monsters. So he's a good board wipe, and he will stay on the field. And also a 3,000 beater. So he's really good to have. More or less you want to see one of him in hand, and as long as your opponent doesn't make you discard, you should be fine with 1, so you shouldn't even care about milling the other 2. More or less you run 3 to make sure that you get him at least in hand at one point. Next you're going to be playing 2 Celestia Lightsworn Angel, 2300 attack, 200 defense, fairy type, and this is it's an okay card. Sometimes I'll tribute summon for a Lightsworn just to get the mill 4 and to blow up 2 cards my opponent controls, but more or less I use her for a discard price for Lumina to get my Wolf or Lila or something like that. So she's not a bad card. Also be used for say going to Curious and stuff like that. Level 5, maybe a Synchro or stuff like that, but not too often, so that's why I play her at 2. More or less she's a Twin Twister that mills 4. Next you're going to be playing 1 Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn, Warrior Tuner, level 4. You can Synchro with Wolf or any other level 4 or level 3. Go into Michael, Omega, stuff like that. Like I'll be showing you later. 700 attack, 1000 defense, and his effect reads, during your main phase, you can send top 2 cards of your library to the graveyard, and he gains 200 attack for each Lightsworn that was sent there by this effect. So more or less you want to use the effect first, and if you have like a Wolf or anything else on the field that can help you go into Curious or even XC or Synchro, then it's worth it. So it helps you get the mill off and then go into something bigger. So yeah, one of him. Next you're going to be playing 1 Minerva, the Lightsworn Maiden. Level 3 Spellcaster Tuner, 800 attack, 200 defense. Not too good of a card. More or less you just want to see her milled, because she will mill you an additional card when she's sent from the top of the deck to the graveyard. So she's good if you want to see a Wolf that you really want on the want to see engraved from deck. So it's good for that. Also her effects I haven't gone off really, which is depending on how many Lightsworns you have in graveyard, then you can basically add a level to whatever how many Lightsworns you have in graveyard to the hand. So you could maybe search for like Punishment Dragon, or actually I think it has to be Let Monster, so Judgment Dragon, search for that off of how many ever Lightsworns you have, but too often I just use it for the mill. So yeah, it also mills 2 at the end of phase, so it's not too bad. And last for the Lightsworn monsters, you're going to be playing 1 Raikou Twilightsworn Fighter, and I like him at 1 due to the fact that he's a beast monster, and unlike the regular Lightsworn Raikou, when he's flipped, he can also banish 1 Lightsworn from graveyard and or hand to banish a card in the field. And again, like other Twilight, if another Lightsworn effect went off, then mills 3. I like this one because it doesn't have to be flip summon immediately. It can also be just normal summon like that, and then just banish 1 card and banish 1 card on the field. So it's really good. Also, you get your plays off to Punishment. Alright, next for the normal, just help plays are 3 Necrogardenas, just to stop any like fatal blows. So if you have 3 off a mill, then basically you banish it and negate the attack. So it's really good. Again, Warrior, so when we get into the extra deck, it's going to actually make sense why I play him. If I don't feel like I need to banish him for any attacks, then it's really good. So play 3 of him. Next I'm going to be playing 1 Plague Spreader Zombie. It's a zombie tuner with effect level 2. You don't really use it for its tuning effect unless you really need it. 400 attack, 200 defense. When this card is in graveyard, you can put a card from your hands, most likely a Wolf, on top of a deck and special summon it. So it's not bad for a tuning effect at times, but I hardly use it for that. I just want the Wolf on top of the deck if I have it in hand and I know I have a Lightsworn that I can just bring out so I can mill it after the fact. So only 1 Plague Spreader. Next, of course, 1 Honest. So a lot of Lightsworns are of course light monsters, so if you're going against like something with a big attack, you can just drop Unhonest from hand and it gains that much attack. So your creature will stay alive and the opponent takes damage and their card gets destroyed, so not a bad card. Next, you're going to be playing for the boss monsters 1 Punishment Dragon, Same thing as Judgment Dragon. You need level 4 or Lightsworn or Lightsworn banished with different names, and pay 1,000 shuffle all cards from both graveyards or banished to the deck except Lightsworn monsters. So it kind of helps get your plays off again, but especially if you have other cards like BLS, Blacklisted Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, engrave, or banished, so you can get him back in deck even with Dark-Armed Dragon, which is really good. So that's why I play Punishment Dragon. Sometimes it helps me win because again 3,000 beast stick and a dragon, and if another Lightsworn effect went off, then I mill 4. Same thing as Judgment Dragon. So, and like I said, 1 BLS and 1 Dark Arm. They have the banish effect when they're summoned, banish 1 light and 1 dark for Blackluster. If you have exactly 3 or more, exactly 3 dark monsters engraved, then you can summon them, and then I believe you can banish 1 dark monster from your graveyard and then banish 1 card on the field. It's basically a Raikou, but you can do it once per turn, which is amazing. 2,800 attack and 1,000 defense. Blackluster Soldier, amazing card too. You can banish 1 card, I believe, and then banish 1 card on the field. And if it attacks a monster and kills it by battle, then you keep going, just keep swinging into other monsters. So it's really good. Also 3,000 attack, so really good. Alright, that's it for monsters. Next we're going to be going to spells. I'll play 2 Solar Recharge. I like Solar Recharge, it's just the fact that I don't like seeing 3, because sometimes it can be a brick due to the fact that you need a Lightsworn in hand to activate its effect, which sometimes you won't have. So it's good for a Lumina effect where you discard it and then just grab another level 4 from grave, but it's not too bad. If you have a Lightsworn in hand, it's amazing if you don't really need it. So if I had Celestia in hand turn 1 and I had this in hand, I would just discard Celestia by this effect and then draw 2 and then mill 2. So maybe I can get a wolf off the mill, or add Lumina or Lila or something like that into hand. So it's not bad. Like I say, it can be a brick at times, but depends on how you go about it. Next, 2 Charge the Light Brigades. I'd rather see this card in opening hand due to the fact that you don't have a cost. More or less, it's just send top 3 cards of your library to the graveyard, and then add 1 level 4 lower Lightsworn monster from your deck to hand. This will search out for Lumina or even Raiden. So it helps get the mill off and helps you search for the pieces that you need. So that's why I play that too. Next, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. I'd rather play Twin Twister, but I don't have any more. So if you have Twin Twister, I recommend playing that, because if you have Necro in hand, then you just discard that, and then you have at least a backup, and you took care of 2 cards on their field. So it helps a lot. Next, 1 Book of Moon for problematic cards that when your opponent swings at you, you can just switch it face down. Or if you have Raikou Lightsworn Fighter on the field and you are used as flip effect, you just switch it back to defense mode and they have to swing at it. So you can just keep using this effect. Also, one thing I figured out when I was playtesting this deck not too long ago is I got a little cocky when I was playing, and I had Necro Gardener on the field with a Judgment Dragon, and I switched I used Book of Moon on Necro Gardener to switch it to defense mode, so I wouldn't take any damage if they swung at that, because it's a low attack compared to Judgment Dragon. So I would do that, I take no damage, and I have a free defense in graveyard, so that's another thing to think about. Next, 1 Foolish Burial to get your wolf into grave. So you use this, send wolf to grave, special summon wolf, and then you're completely fine. And if you already have all 3 wolves in grave and you haven't used this yet, I would recommend, depending on how many Lightsworns you have already in grave, I would recommend searching off your other Lightsworns to help you get at least Judgment Dragon off and all that. So it kind of helps at times, but I like using it for more or less Wolf. Next, I love this card. I don't know why people don't play it. Monster Reborn. Especially for a deck like this, where you need cards banished at times. And basically it says target 3 monsters in your graveyard, and your opponent targets 1 monster out of them, and special summon that 1 target, banish the other 2. So pick all Lightsworns, ones that you know that you need and banished. Then you can get all those and banished if they don't pick it, and basically you have maybe a Celestia, maybe a Wolf on field from the special summon, so it helps regardless depending on what you have in grave. So I might play 2 of that. Next, 1 Dark Hole. I would add Regeki, but Regeki is kind of a expensive card. But in a problematic board, if you have nothing on the field, just wipe. Next, unfortunately, 1 terrible looking Monster Reborn. I would switch it out, but I'm too lazy to. I like that it's at 1 again, so it helps a lot. Just a note, you can't special summon like Punishment Dragon or Judgment Dragon or any of your boss monsters off this effect because they need conditions. So you can't use this and then go into your big boss monsters. But this will, Monster Reincarnation. So you discard, again, Necro Gardener or one of your other pieces that you need for Judgment Dragon. Get that, engrave, and if you have like all 3 of your Judgment Dragons engrave already, then discard the piece that you need, then add Judgment Dragon back to hand, then special summon it. It helps immensely. Finally, for the spells, 1 Upstart, draw a card, your opponent gains 1,000. It can help at times. Hopefully you can, will draw into like a Charge Levitate, or if you have like a terrible hand of like a Celestia, you draw into like Solar Recharge, so you can discard it, draw 2, send top 2. So it's all depending on what you have in hand, I guess. Alright, that's it for spells. Next, 3 Mirror Forces. All my friends can't stand this card due to the fact that it destroys their whole board if they have all attack monsters, and this is all I have on the field. So I run 3. I might add Lilith from the Lair of Darkness deck, just to search off all 3, so I can just set 1 and then say go, and just keep going like that. So 3 Mirror Forces, always good to have. Next, to prevent from hand traps, you play 1 Mind Drain. Really good card, especially with today's metagame of like Sky Trekkers. You don't want cards being used from the hand. Well, monster effects from the hand, like Ash Blossom and all that. The only thing is you pay 1,000, which, not too bad. Especially if people like upstart you, then you have an extra 1,000 to give. Next, Bottomless Trap Hole. Really good card, especially if they go into ABC and you have this on board. Then you can just banish it. They lost pieces already from the banish summon of ABC Buster. They can't quick effect it, so there you go. Next, Beckoning Light. I might switch this out because I don't like it all too much, seeing as how it's a trap, but it's decent seeing how you can literally just say, okay, I have like Judgment Dragon, Beal, Blacklist Soldier, any light monster that you will need, depending on how many cards you discarded. So if you have a whole board of just bricks, discard this, and then hopefully you have a lot of monsters that you discard that aren't of use, so you pull monsters that you need off of, like, from the mills. Next, I might switch Beckoning out for another Compulsory. I love Compulsory back at 3 due to the fact that when someone swings at me with a whole bunch of damage, target 1 monster, bounce back to their hand. So swing at me with like a Synchro monster or again ABC Buster. They just summoned it, so they can't target, well, they can't tribute it. Pop it back to hand, lost pieces, and you can't get them back, so alright. Yeah, like I said, I would probably run this at 2 and get rid of Beckoning Light. Next, for the extra deck. The extra deck, this is how I play it. I would switch a few things, but right now I run 2 Curious Lightsworn Dominion. It's more or less your Foolish Burial monster for the deck, which I like. When it's destroyed, then you can just add a card from graveyard to hand. But when she's summoned, basically you can send 1 card from deck to grave. So more or less, like I said, Foolish Burial. You just would do a Wolf or even a Raiden if you have Lumina on the field outright, which would be amazing. She does need 3 different types, but same attribute. So all 3 light monsters, but different types. Like you would do Celestia, Raiden, and Lumina. So you'd have Fairy, Warrior, and then Spellcaster. So it helps a lot. And then if a card is sent from the deck to graveyard, you mill 3. So again, might have a chance of milling another Wolf or 2. So that's why I played 2 of her. Plus the Link Stones are pretty good. Next, 1 Minerva, the Exalted Lightsworn. Really good, level rank 4. Also Fairy, so you can use her for Curious. You can just detach 1 and basically mill 3, draw however many Lightsworns you milled that way, and once you destroyed, mill 3, then blow up as many cards as Lightsworns you milled. So it's a really good card. Sometimes I play in attack mode, but sometimes you want to just put her in defense. You can still use the effects, so really good. Next, Abyss Dweller, 2 level 4s. You don't really go with the first effect all too much, which is let water monsters gain 500 attack if they're using materials. More or less, you want it for the effect that, again, ABC, if you're playing against ABC or Burning Abyss, you want this card so they can't use their grave. So that's more or less the whole point of it. And 1700 attack, not bad. Again, probably a monster I put in defense mode with 1400, so again, not bad. Castell, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. Again, rank 4, not bad. Detach, reshuffle a card from opponent's side back in the deck. So it's basically like a Aaron Lightsworn Monk, but you just attach and 2000 attack. You really can't go wrong with that. But not bad on that. So that's those. Next, onto the synchros. You're going to be playing 1 Side Frame Lord Omega. I love this card. I'm happy I got it. I might pick up another 2. Apologize for my dog. So you banish this card from the field, banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand, and since with the new link rule, you have it in an extra monster zone, when it comes back during main phase after the effect, you just put it in main monster zone. So you can go into a link again, or just go into another Synchro, XC, stuff like that. So it's really good. 2800 attack, really awesome also. 8-star too. So that's something you definitely want to use like Raiden and Wolf for. Next, Red Dragon Archfiend. Again, 3000 beat stick, level 8. Another thing to use, like depending on what the board state is, I would use, again, mostly a lot of these you're going to use like Raiden and Wolf. Unless you get to the lower levels, then it's like Raiden and like freaking Lumina or something like that. But when he attacks a defense position monster, destroy all defense position monsters after combat on the field. So it helps get rid of stupid cards like that when you need board clear and you want to go for fatal. Next, Colossal Fighter, Warrior Synchro, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. This card gains 300 attack for each warrior monster in your graveyard. Oh, sorry, 100 attack for each monster in the graveyard. Warrior type monster in the graveyard. And when it hits grave, you can special summon 1 warrior type monster from either player's graveyard on your side of the field. So it can tag out when it hits grave. So if they do manage to kill it, which I don't go into him too much because I'd rather go into like BLS or Punishment Dragon for fatal. or even Omega to help with that. It's not a bad card to have, just for fun. Next, you're going to go into the level 7s, which is Michael, the Arc Lightsworn. This one I really like, just due to the fact of banishment. So, pay 1,000, banish a card in the field that your opponent controls, and then at end phase, mill 3. And when it's destroyed, you gain 300. You can shuffle all Lightsworn monsters back into your deck and gain 300 life for each. So it's a more or less it's a punishment dragon, but even better because you gain life from it and you reshuffle. So yeah, 2,600 attack, 2,000 defense. Requires 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner light monster. And by the way, this needed 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner monster. And same for this and this one too, so I figured I'd tell you those before I forget. Next, for another board clear, you're going to be playing Black Rose Dragon, 2,400 attack, 1,800 defense. Same thing as the other ones, but this is level 7 also. As soon as it's summoned, you can activate it and blow up field. This does include your field, so play it how you want. If you know that you're going to be going against like ABC, Burning Abyss, Blue Eyes, stuff like that, it's really good for that, so I recommend playing that. And for the last of the extra deck, I play 1 X-Saber Wayne. So if I have Raiden in hand and I have Wolf on field already and already did a normal summon, then you can just go into him and special summon Raiden from hand. And then you go into, say, another monster. So you go into like, you can't even go curious. You blow this up somehow, or just have it die and then just go into something else. But actually, if you had curious and then that right there, then that'd be fine too. But alright, so that's it for the extra deck. And this one I play for the sideboard. I don't like sideboard too much, but here we go. Play 1 Solar Recharge. Like I said, I don't like seeing 3 because again it's a brick, but it helps at times, which I will give it that. Next is Honest, because who knows, maybe you want the extra prevention of an attack. So Raikou, again, banishment of Lightsworn monster helps a lot more, and Book of Moonet, so it helps with that. Another punishment in case you don't feel like you're seeing punishment enough, and you know you're going to get like a whole like 4+ Lightsworn monsters in banish zone, then you can just summon him right off. So that's some of those. Next, like this one I like because it's basically Castell, but every time it attacks, it shuffles a monster from that it's attacking into the deck. So it's really good in Pleasant Mills 3 also. And it's 1,600, level 4 warrior, so it helps a lot. And yeah, good for XCs and synchros and stuff like that. Now this is where it gets a little funky. 3 Fairy Tale Snow for your punishment plays. So Fairy Tale Snow, when it's in grave, you can banish 5 cards, and then special summon her. You can special summon her in defense mode, but she's 1850, which isn't bad. Also level 4. So you can help. It turbos out more or less plays for punishment. So that's another reason to use it. Especially if you know what cards you need and that you have engraved. And finally for the sideboard, 1 Raiden. Just another tuner in the deck, and it's just a mill. So, alright, and that's it for the Lightsworn deck profile. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and please do subscribe, hit that like button if you enjoyed, and hit the bell. It really does help, especially trying to get this channel out there, and hopefully we're doing a good job so far. That's all I can say. We really want to do this channel, and I think so far it's going very well. But alright, hope you guys enjoyed, and like I said, hit the subscribe button and click the link down below, well, bell down below for notifications whenever we upload. Hopefully we should have an upload schedule soon. So, alright, bye bye.